This is On the Porch, RVA, where every episode features observers discussing life. We agree and we disagree. So we invite you to take part as we discuss current events and no telling what else. Whether the conversation is bad drivers, politics, or even earthworms, everyone has an opinion and is welcome to express it. Life is an adventure to be shared and celebrated here on the porch.
Hello, this is Tracy Hunley. You are joining us on the porch, RVA, and I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm thrilled that you're here, and I want to welcome my guest, Jeanette Jones. Jeanette Jones, I just like your name, too, in addition to you being such a precious
married
individual.
into it.
Yeah, it's let's see. Let's start with the introduction.
All right.
Jeanette Jones. Let me go with what I know.
All right.
And then you fill in the gaps.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I first met Jeanette Jones years ago. I mean, Hosanna Victory Chapel years ago.
Yes.
Gateway Ministries.
Yes.
Years ago. And I know that you have a wonderful husband, wonderful family.
Yes.
All of that.
Yes. So much so.
Yes. And real estate agent.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember if you have cats or dogs. I don't think. No, wait a minute. You have a dog.
I have a dog.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. He's our second dog. So our first one we had when my oldest boy, Mitchell, was probably about 10 or 11, and he's since passed, and we have a little poodle now. So
A little dog.
a little dog.
Okay.
Yeah, our first one was a rescue. He was a German Shepherd mix. He was a big dog.
It was the big dog that I remember. And let's see. I know you pastor a church, but I don't recall the name of it. What's the name of the church?
Wellspring Life Church.
Wellspring Life. I'm going to put a link to the church in the show notes.
Okay.
Okay. Let me write that down. And I have a few questions
Sure.
to get the ball rolling.
Okay, excellent.
Wellspring Life Church. Okay. The first question. What book do you wish you could read again for the first time, not including scriptures or Orwell's Animal Farm?
Well, I've never read Orwell's Animal Farm.
No!
Yeah.
You
so
must. You
I know.
absolutely must.
Okay, I might.
It's not very long.
Yes.
It's not a children's book, though.
Right. I think one of my children, it was required reading for him. Probably Mitchell. So I would say I don't tend to read books twice. I tend to be somebody that reads them and I love it, but when I go back, it's like, oh, I know that. So I don't tend to read books twice.
But if it was the first
I know. Well, there's a couple
time.
that have kind of stuck in my mind through the years. One of them was actually in my 20s, and it was The Cross and the Switchblade. Are you familiar with it?
Yes, and I'll put the link to that in the show notes,
Yeah,
too.
so that really struck me because that was about the time I was rededicating my life to the Lord. Had kind of, was raised in a Christian family, but due to separation and different difficulties in the family, we didn't go to church much in my middle school and high school, very formative years. And so I came to this place where I was just trying to recalibrate in my 20s, right after graduation. And that was a book that I was given, and the one line, everybody always talks about it, that when David Wilkerson was talking to Nikki Cruz, and Nikki Cruz was a gang member. I grew up in greater Los Angeles, so there was, especially in my middle school, there was gang activity. That was something I grew up around. So I could relate. I had a fear of gangs.
And it didn't take a lot of imagination then.
No, it did not.
Yeah. Okay.
And in our middle school, we had encountered some gang activity and some difficult things. So when Nikki looks at him and is telling him about the love of God, the love of Jesus, and Nikki threatens to, I believe, cut him or something. And he says, if you cut me in a million pieces, every part of me will still love you.
Yes, yes.
And
I remember that so clearly.
It still touches my heart because I want to love people like that. And because I think that every person, no matter what they're living, how they're living, that there's value.
Yeah.
Get my parents going.
That was...
there's value. And to see that and to speak to that with such passion and love, that would be... So that one comes to mind. And the other one is The Sin Eater by, I'm going to have to think of her name. I just lost my, Francine Rivers. And somebody introduced that to me. And at first when I read it, I was like, I'm not sure what I think, but it has some metaphors to it. It's about an old belief. I don't think it's the South. I would say it's probably more... maybe Old England or something, and they believed that there was somebody within the community that would be made the sin eater. And when somebody died, everybody else would attend in one fashion, but this person would come and everybody would turn their backs and they would lay bread on the person, and this type of thing, kind of taking upon the sin of them that they might go into the next world.
I think I'm familiar with that because of Rod Serling's Twilight Zone.
I so remember the Twilight Zone, but I don't know how it would relate to this one, but I could see it fitting in that. But then the story goes on to parallel it to how the Lord is our sin eater.
Francine Rivers. I'm going to look that up.
And I fell in love with all her books. I read quite a few. And then she took some different ways that she wrote, and I didn't connect as well. But I really connected well with her books. So those are...
Yeah.
But I don't reread a lot of books.
I've
not even reread that one. And they made a movie out of that one.
I think I did hear about the movie, but I haven't seen
there's
it.
Two,
I'm definitely going to have to check
movies.
it out.
I can't remember the other one, but there's 2 movies made off of her books, at least.
Well, my second question is also about books, and it is asking what book you keep stashed in your car or suitcase for when you're stuck. Now, not everybody does that now because you've got stuff in your phones now.
Yes, yes. I don't have one.
I rarely book you're in the middle of.
Why? No, because first of all, I have 3 boys, and they're each about 7 to 8 years apart. So for 27-something years, I've been mama. And there's been very few road trips or flights that I've taken until probably the last couple years that it wasn't more about me, mom, than being able to sit there and read a book.
Mom.
So, more maybe a little bit of games and doing things with them. But I don't always carry books with me. So I need to think about that. I need to have a book that I know I can always touch. Sometimes I'll look and I'll grab it. But I do a lot more of the reading app for my books too. I very rarely buy books anymore.
Not a physical book.
Not much anymore because I could just grab my book even in bed with the lights down and turn on my little reader and read my books. And so I download most of my books these days.
We've gotten hooked on audiobooks.
Oh, I've never done that.
And it is well, it's kind of dangerous when you're driving. We were listening. We were listening to a Mitch Rapp. Oh man, we were listening to a Mitch Rapp book, and it was he was fighting somewhere, and there were bombs going off, and it was a hostage situation. It was all kinds of action and drama, and I had to tell John, slow down. Because all of that, got into, it's like the whole car was full of all of this drama and excitement. And so it is a matter of situational awareness.
Well, I will have to remember that when I have a long road trip. It helps energize me for the drive, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I can tell you some of the audiobook readers do a better job than others. If you're looking for an author that really throws himself into reading his own book,
okay,
then you're going to want to get one by Andrew Clavin or William Shatner. William Shatner will read his own books, and it is hilarious because, you know, there's nothing self-important about him. So I'm gonna skip down to the question. We haven't really talked a lot about what you do, other than identifying real estate. But my question is, what motivates you to do what you do?
I got into real estate really because of a wonderful realtor I had myself. And a home that we were trying to sell, there was a lady that worked with us for a few years, because nobody ever likes to hear this story, but our home didn't sell when we put it on the market for the first time.
The first time?
Yes, yes. That's a story in itself. And she was just so good at continuing to take us out and show us homes, and we get very excited about things, and she was always excited with us. She was always enthusiastic about going out and looking for these, and our homes on the market and sitting, and we'd make offer on homes and it'd sell before ours sold. And so each time if we got near the holidays or whatever, I'm like, honey, I'm done. Because I always loved my home. It was just bigger. We thought we'd downsize. That's hilarious because we did not downsize in the long run. So that's funny. But I loved her. And I thought, I love people like she loves people. And so to be able to be somebody that can help make something happen like she did for us became a goal. But I was still raising my children. I homeschooled them for a very long time. And so it was a goal that I knew had to be further in the future, because people think you could be a part-time realtor. You really can't be a part-time realtor, because most of the time people that want to go see homes, they're going to want to go on evenings and weekends. That was one of the things that presented a dilemma for me in schooling. Even once I got licensed, I did it. Open houses are Saturdays and Sundays.
Right.
You know, a lot of that work. And so it's on call. And so I delayed it probably 5 years longer than when I first began to have the thought. Then went after it, got it. And I still would say, in some ways, I work for a larger team, an amazing team. We have 12 of us, and that's an advantage because you can reach out to one another when you need somebody else to fill in a gap.
So it's not that you can't work part-time. It's that you have to put it first.
Well, if you work part-time, you get a part-time salary.
Yeah. And
you might lose clients, so you need other people that you can pull on to help you out too.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the thing that we need to know is that, so in regards to real estate, you know, as serving people in real estate, all of you, when you call us, you're going to want us to be able to answer that call and try to help you get out to see what you want to see or take care of things for you. And so that's our goal. And so, therefore, if you aren't always able to do that, you have to realize you as a person that might be buying or selling, how would you feel if I could do that for you?
Yeah. And knowing that there's competition.
Oh my goodness! So much competition these days.
To know that the house that I want is out there. The house that I want is out there, and somebody else might be looking at it right this minute.
And these last few years, it's been very much that, right? Something goes on the market in an area or a price range that is very approachable, and yes, the competitive pricing, the multi-offers, we've been dealing with that for years. So far this year, we're not sure yet. We're still on watch because interest rates went up. Everybody knows that. Yeah. That's a variable. People's salaries, where are they? How is that compensating it? And where are home prices in the last few years because of so many competitive offers? It did drive those up. Right now, appraisals are still meeting it a little bit. Just a little footnote here for you. Virginia is also becoming where Northern Virginia or Washington people are moving into. Right. And that's also drove up some of these prices.
I've been hearing that, yeah.
Because they love what we have to offer here in Virginia. We've got that smaller town feel for the most part.
Can't we build a wall?
But, you know, we welcome them. We welcome them into our communities. But at the same time, you know, trying to figure out how to, for all of us, be sure that we're making it approachable for people. And so we see a lot of building of multi-units and other things that also is very interesting to see in almost every community of the greater Richmond area right now.
There's a lot of variety out there, a lot of variety. And I was talking to somebody about it the other day, and she was trying to decide what was going to be most important to her when she walked into doing the looking and looking at the financing and figuring out
Good for her.
what she was prepared to let go of and what she was going to have to say, no, this is my sticking point.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And whether the sticking point was going to be a matter of a price point or whether the sticking point was going to be a house feature.
Right, right, right.
And it does.
And we have a huge aging community that wants first floor masters now. Primaries, excuse me. First floor primaries.
Primaries.
Yes. And so with that, you know, you have a whole aspect of homes that's greatly desired. So those go really quick. So there's little things like that that a realtor will be able to bring and help educate a person even before you go out there and look at a home. What's it looking like out there? Us asking you what's really important to you. What is that sticking feature for you?
Yeah.
And then I can talk to you about how that might look and what the variables are around that.
Now, so I get the impression that you have a lot of fun because you like people, and then also you have the thrill of the hunt.
Yes, in part. Like I said, I work with a bigger team. I also am part of their support team, which affords me to be able to
That's a lot
work.
of trading off then.
Yes,
That's
it
good.
is. And it allows them to be able to also have somebody that they can knows the work, but also is able to facilitate what they need as far as lawyers, getting everything to the people that need to get the contracts and all that kind of information as well. So I do work full-time for sure.
Yeah, and I know it takes a lot, and I know a lot of people are hesitant about reaching out to do that first time home.
It's so true. Why do you think
because they
are?
don't know what all's involved.
Right. Agreed. And it seems scary, doesn't it? It seems like that's too much. Or even do you ever find that place where you were like, I don't know that I want to talk about this. But finding the person you trust that you can talk about, hey, I'm not sure what I can afford, or this is my dream. And then we have to sometimes say, okay, what can we do? And one of the first things we recommend is getting you to, if you have to finance it, getting it to a lender so we can get realistic about what your numbers look like.
Okay, so I wasn't intending to ask you, but on the subject of realistic, I've been seeing on Facebook recently different reports, and I don't do serious research. I'm just looking at Facebook.
Oh, I have those moments. Who doesn't? We all do that.
And occasionally on X. But what I'm hearing now is that it's cheaper to rent and that it is not a reasonable thought to think about getting a house.
Wow.
And I just find that so depressing.
I do too.
Depressing.
I have seen some people that have taken that step, actually sold their home and gone into rental. I would say that they're probably more in their retirement years, and trying to think about maintaining a home became too difficult for them. So I have seen people that I have helped walk through that aspect of it. But in regards to home ownership, first of all, the pricing, rentals have gone up. Rent has gone up hugely.
That's crazy.
Yes, lately.
Absolutely crazy.
The ability to, for rent or buying, both ways you're going to have to count the financial aspect of it. The part of home ownership is the pride of being able to own something that is your own, that you can make your own, and that you call the shots on it. You know, and in rental, you can keep your payment could keep going up every month.
Yeah.
You know, there's aspects of it. They could decide, oh, we want to sell now, and they get to decide
and then you're stuck.
You know, so
yeah, they never talk about equity. The people who take that position,
right?
The one thing they never talk about is equity and being invested. Just being invested. Like
that's right.
In my home, when I'm looking at my home, I'm not just looking at where I live.
That's right.
When my parents got divorced, and they were living in Texas, and part of getting divorced in Texas is that, and I won't swear to still having that program, but at that time they had a program where she was able to go back to school because she had been a full-time homemaker all that time.
Right.
I mean, they were just before their 40th anniversary when they got a divorce.
Oh, goodness.
And so she went to school, and she was able to do all of these things because of her education, but they were living in a small town. And you know how when people get divorced and all the friends get separated too, you know,
Yes.
these go with this one. Well, my mother being the homebody, and never, I mean, people didn't even know who she was because she was always at home
Taking care of things.
and even after the kids were grown, she was very introverted. And so Dad got all the friends. Small town, how do you get a job if you don't have friends? You have some kind of a connection.
Right.
Well,
Connection's huge.
Producer John, saint that he is, suggested that she move up here and move in with us. Now, of course, I said, "Are you crazy?" And 30 plus years later, we're still married. So he was moderately crazy, but not inordinately crazy. But she moved up here. And when she asked him if he was crazy, and she said, "Now, you know, if I come up there, I'm leaving feet first." And he said, "Okay."
Oh,
And
wow.
now this house is not just where we've lived. It's also got that other additional layer, you know.
That's beautiful history.
So I don't see us selling.
Yeah,
I just don't see it.
yeah.
Yeah, and so I can't imagine having that experience in an apartment. I can't
Right.
imagine accumulating history in
Right.
an apartment.
I love that. A lot of people don't think enough about that. You have people that every 3 to 5 years want to buy another home, you know, and they're moving. But my mother-in-law was in the home when she passed for a very long time. And when we went in there and were taking care of things, all the history, you know, and we kind of seen some of it through the years, but we hadn't seen all of it. And we still have loads of it and trying to still figure out how not to be so connected to it. But
Yeah, we don't want to get into the conversation about
yes,
hoarding. We just don't want to talk about
yes.
hoarding
And
at
my
all.
mom in
Not at all.
California, yeah, my mom in California, she's been in that home since we were in elementary school, and my brother is
Oh,
helping
wow.
her. She just lost her husband, my stepdad, last year, and so we're going through things. They're going through things there, and I just got a
Yeah.
shipment of 2 big boxes from them. So, but she has no plans of going anywhere either. It's a wonderful little rancher in kind of greater Los Angeles area. It's really kind of in between Los Angeles and Orange County, but it's a wonderful community,
Yeah.
and she loves it, and it's home, and it's you know,
Well,
part of her life.
People are talking about the scarcity of homes, and I'm sure that there are a lot of older people who are afraid to sell. And so if they have someone like you that they can talk through
Talk
the
through it.
process with.
Yes, it doesn't have to be a quick decision. Talking through it is great.
I have 2 more questions.
Sure.
I don't know if I'm going to get to both of them.
Okay.
So I'm going to go to the
'Cause we like to
heaviest one
talk.
first. That's what this is about. It really
I
is.
love it.
And I really appreciate you. And this is okay, what was your darkest day? And we're not looking for the nitty-gritty. We're not
Okay.
looking for the gruesome details. But
Okay.
the main reason I'm asking is so that you can share how you came out of it.
Well, probably when my dad left when we were young. My passing of my stepfather recently was very hard, but when my dad left, there was a lot of unknowns. We were very young. I think I was probably, don't even remember, isn't that funny? I'm going to say I was probably about 7 years old, so my older sister Tammy I'm going to say she was 7, I was probably 6, and Eva was 4.
That's a lot of unknowns.
Yes.
At a young age.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he left us the home we were renting and the car we were making a payment on, and letting go of our dog, and just watching my mom and all of us just make it. You know, and that's still part of all of us because we did. We did. And we've all done very well, and we all have very good families, and so we did.
Do you remember a season of where you recognized that all of a sudden you felt better? Or that you felt more solid?
Absolutely. I think there's been many of those, but I would have to say it was probably about when I was about 17, 18 years old. And I began to say, in high school, I didn't even know what I was going to do. And all of a sudden, my friends are going to college. I didn't even think of that. I was just doing life. And so I went to the community college for a while. I did go to Bible college, but just beginning to take those steps of finding out, what am I made of? What's my next steps and purpose? And going through those pathways, and every piece of it counted.
Yeah.
Every part of it made a difference in my life, and I'm thankful for all of it. So I think that's very formative years. We talk about formative years young, but I think that after high school is hugely formative in our adulthood. Was for me.
Because my other question was, how grown were you when you decided what you wanted to be when you grew up? Now, I remember
that could just be a couple years ago.
I remember when you became a real estate agent, and you said it was like 10 or 11 years, but at the age I am now, that seemed like it was, not that long ago at all.
Yes.
But I'm thinking now that I know that about you, that is just one more reason that you have such a solid joy in getting people settled in a home where they're happy.
That's one of the things my husband always says. He says, realtors are people that get you to where you belong.
And for you to have been in that place with your dad leaving, being in the apartment, losing the apartment, figuring out where you and your mom and your sisters were going to be, I can imagine that raised the stakes of being settled.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does. I could say yes, that is, I could see that that's been a root throughout my life. And all of us want that, right? We really do. So, and it never stops. I'm a lot older now.
No.
And, it's still the truth. We're still patterning. How do we continue to finish strong and go after what is still before us? That never stops. There's still always more.
There is still always more.
So I'd love to, that's a huge little thing I'd love to leave. There's still always more for all of us, and keep asking the questions, what's next? Whether it's career, whether it's home, whether it's what we read, whether it's the people we meet or reconnect with, and that all of it just becomes part of our lines of our story and other people's story, and they read it. They read our stories too. So.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Yes. That takes care of all of my questions, all of that.
Those are wonderful. You got me thinking.
Target. Well, I think that one of the things that I get such a joy out of in doing these interviews is being able to just pull out the treasures of the moment and turn them over. And I really appreciate your having been willing to sit down with us.
Oh my goodness, what an honor. And that was really, it's so true. You did that. You pulled that out, and you put some pieces together that maybe I didn't see or look at for a while. So, to recount those, it helps the next generation too when we run into those moments that we don't know. And that could feel scary or exciting, but intimidating.
And exciting.
Yes. And sometimes just go after it and see when it's right.
Yeah.
When it's right, go after it.
I think
and see where it leads.
I'm trying to get the young people that I interact with to not be afraid of fear. You see it, you don't want it, but you reckon with it. You wrestle with it
because it's there.
You use it, or you kick it out, but you get adrenaline from it, and the adrenaline has a purpose.
It's a good message.
Or it will hurt you if you just let it build up and you don't do something with it. So grab it, beat it, kick it, throw it.
Use it. Use it for your purpose.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Great message for the young people.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeanette Jones. Thank you, people out there in the internet. And really happy that y'all have found On the Porch, RVA.
Yes, love it.
If you've just enjoyed the audio and you want to see this adorable, cute as a button realtor over here, we're on YouTube and Rumble, and I'll have some information in the show notes. And thank you. We'll see you around.
Thank you, Tracy.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, thank you. Tracy here. I had intended to get Jeanette's thoughts on what is being called affordable housing, yes, that's in air quotes, referring to apartments that may or may not be reasonably priced. Most people are not looking for anything fancy. Truly affordable housing, safe and livable. People are just working a job or two, just don't want to be homeless. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think anyone with kids should get a housing subsidy, like earned income credit. So anyway, Jeanette and I talked more about home owning. I believe the American dream is still alive, and I believe that being able to own a home should be within everyone's reach. I know a number of realtors, and I'm glad to see that there's some improvements on the horizon. The VHDA has a program called Virginia Housing, and it helps first-time homeowners with financing. The program's loan limit was just increased to $500,000. That's virginiahousing.com. There are a number of legislative efforts in the most recent General Assembly. They were attempting to tackle our housing price increases. All of those proposals were all tabled till next year. One was to block hedge funds from buying up single-family homes just to flip them, which raised prices. When more homes are available, it will make a difference. It will be an increasingly affordable market as interest rates and inflation go down. In the meantime, don't be afraid to dream. And when you're getting ready to take it from the vision board to the planning stage, Jeanette is exactly the kind of person you want in your corner. Thanks for dropping by. Be well.
On the Porch RVA is produced and directed by John Hunley. Your host is Tracy Hunley. Join our community on Facebook and Instagram. Email us at tomatlh@outlook.com. Visit us at www.tomastudiosrva.com. Video of these episodes are on YouTube and Rumble. On the Porch is a 2024 Toma Studios production.